Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome back into another round of Astros Recap Postseason Edition. So, it is late. Technically, it's actually Friday morning because it is 12:03 a.m. So, good morning, so to speak. Like I've mentioned in previous podcasts, it still feels like nighttime for me. So, but if we be technical, it is officially Monday morning. My last few podcasts have been late. If I do not work the following day, I usually get in here around, let's say 10:30, 11-ish o'clock, depending on what the day looks like. But yeah, I know the last two podcasts have been, well into the midnight hour. Anyway, Astros obviously advanced to the ALCS, so 5th straight year. That's a nice sort of thing to have, I guess. If all else fails, the Astros have made it to the League Championship Series now 5 years in a row. Only third team to do that. I believe the Braves did it in the 90s, and the A's back in, I believe, from 71 to 75. I could be wrong there. I don't think I am. I think it's pretty sure on the teams, but yeah, Braves in the 90s went to the League Championship Series 5 straight years, and the Oakland A's from 71 to 75. So yeah, obviously the goal is to win the World Series, though. It's not to just get there. So it's a kind of a cool thing to have, playing the Red Sox, obviously, who took care of the Rays in 4 games. So sort of a rematch of the 2018 ALCS. Before I actually preview the series, I sort of want to pick up where I left off last podcast, which was on Monday night, I believe, Tuesday morning, I guess. But yeah, the Astros, they came out and they really took care of business on Tuesday. 10-1 final. The game was really over after 5 innings. I felt like, the White Sox scored an earlier run there, but then the Astros, all Astros from there. Correa had a few big hits. Bregman had a big 2-run double. Brantley had a few RBI singles. Altuve had a big 3-run home run to really put icing on the cake down the 9th inning off Liam Hendricks. So yeah, Rodon, who was a big question mark going in, actually first few pitches of the game, which he threw 99. So one of the big questions going into that game was, how was Rodon going to look? But he had a short leash. They got him out of there 2 2/3, I believe, and went to Michael Kopech. So it was an interesting game plan because Rodon, he shut them down. The Astros were, it wasn't like that game way back in the regular season where he did shut them down for about 8 innings, but the Astros were getting on base and making things tough. So La Russa went to Kopech. That didn't really work out for him that well. So. And this was after Correa had the big 2-run double to actually take the lead. So, but yeah, that was a great game. Offensive outburst. The Astros slugged their way to this ALDS win, basically. So, one of the big questions, obviously, going to the postseason, and I've talked about this as well, down, throughout the regular season, the fact that you have to win close 3-2 tight, 1-2-run ball games. And you got to find a bullpen pitcher. You got to have a guy you can turn to get big, high leverage outs. And the Astros didn't really have to deal with that at all. They win game 1 6-1. They had the lead. They had multiple run lead late in the game. Game 2 9-4. Obviously, they lost game 3, and the bullpen was a complete disaster that game. Most notably, Yimi Garcia and Brooks Raley. But yesterday, again, it was smooth sailing after the 5th inning. So the Astros really haven't been challenged in that regard. Now, obviously, their calling card is their offense. That's how they have to win games. They have to score 6, 7, 8 runs, I feel like, to win ball games. But their bullpen against the Red Sox in this series will be tested. So, and right now, Phil Maton, albeit small sample size, has looked good in his limited outings in the postseason. Kendall Graveman, I don't have faith that Kendall Graveman can get through a solid. He can't. I don't know, man. I just I just don't know with Kendall Graveman, and I don't have a lot of faith there. Ryan Stanek is just too inconsistent to trust. Ryan Presley needs his situation of it being a safe situation for him to come through, because he's failed in tie games, and yeah, so a lot of question marks in that bullpen. Lance McCullers obviously is a big storyline because we'll probably be without him. He gets pulled after 4 innings. Dusty Baker, another brain-dead decision to go to Yimi Garcia. Now, it worked out. But after the 2 outings Yimi Garcia had going into Game 4, I don't know. It's another brain-dead decision by Dusty Baker. Now, it worked out, so people won't talk about it, but it wasn't a smart decision. But, yeah, I mean, the big storyline, obviously, you know, getting the win obviously is big, but yeah, losing Lance McCullers to arm soreness, MRI, apparently it's nothing significant long-term, but it hasn't been official yet, but I'm pretty sure we'll be without him this entire series. So your Game 1 pitcher, obviously, well, Lance wasn't going to be on regular rest anyway for Game 1, so it's Framber Valdez, and then Luis Garcia gets the ball Game 2. We should see Jose Urquidy in Game 3 would be my guess, and then they'd probably move up Zach Greinke, and you'll have to add a pitcher to the roster that will, it's got to be Jake Odorizzi, right? So there'll be that, so that would mean you'd have to move one of your position players down. I think the odd guy out's got to be Jose Siri or Garrett Stubbs. So yeah, I mean, either one of those is probably your obvious option. In fact, I'd probably go, I mean, he's more valuable. They both run well. Siri's probably a little bit faster than Stubbs, but you really need a third catcher, so I'm not going to sit here and predict. I'll just tell you once I find out what the official 26-man roster is for this series. But yeah, so obviously the Red Sox have Chris Sale going Game 1, so that's an interesting selection. I was curious to know whether he was going to start or come out of the bullpen, but, I mean, if he's healthy, he's the ace. I mean, there's no question about it. You know, and then Nate Eovaldi in Game 2, so obviously I look at their pitching staff doesn't necessarily scare me. I mean, obviously we know what Chris Sale's capable of, but the Astros have hit Sale in the past, so I'm not saying that, you know, this should be a breeze for us. I think in no way, shape, or form this is a breeze, but Chris Sale's not going to frighten me in Game 1. And I'm not trying to be confident or cocky or anything here. He's not a guy that's going to strike me with a lot of fear going against him in Game 1. Should be a good series. Go 6 or 7 games, I would assume. So, I mean, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot, you know, obviously the Red Sox winning that wild card game, taking care of the Rays in 4, feeling good about themselves as well they should. I mean, Christian Vasquez, Kike Hernandez, Rafael Devers, Xander Bogaerts, I mean, they got a lot of people that can hurt you, so, and yeah, obviously, you know, bullpen-wise, I don't really even know. I mean, we did beat the Red Sox 5 out of 7, but I really think the regular season has very little significance in terms of how things will turn out the postseason. Postseason is a completely different type thing. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, the Rays won 100 games, had the best record in the American League, and they fell to the Red Sox pretty easily there. So, yeah, I mean, good series. Sort of, we want some payback for 2018, you know. Trying to defend our title in 2017, and the Red Sox knocked us out. It was a pretty tough series for the Astros, winning Game 1 at Fenway, and then obviously, yeah, losing 4 consecutive games after the Game 1 win. We have home field advantage, so I do think that's an important factor to have, you know, our fans backing us, especially Game 1, Game 2. I think that, especially this year. The Astros don't really get phased going on the road being booed all year. They expect it. They're used to it. I kind of like the role they're playing now. Like, they're embracing the whole we're the villain role. It's us against the world, and I kind of like that. So, But I mean, as far as the Red Sox, I mean, Alex Cora is their manager. I mean, he was the brains. Him and Beltran were the brains behind the whole cheating operation. And I don't want to get into full breakdown here with all that because I just, I've moved on and moved past it. So I'm not going to sit here and get into all that. But yeah, I mean, it's. The Red Sox also got cheat, in 28. Also got caught cheating. So I mean, it just, maybe not to the extent of the Astros, of course, but yeah, we're both, just got done watching the Dodgers beat the Giants, so that's kind of why I was a little late. Wanted to finish watching that game, obviously, but the Giants did beat the Giants lost to the Dodgers. Dodgers won that series in 5 games, so they'll play the Braves. So same matchup as last year. Didn't look that way for the longest time this year. I mean, the Braves were down and out for a good part of the year, and nobody in the division wanted to compete, so the Braves said, all right, we'll take it. But kind of remarkable to think of what they've been able to do without people like Ronald Acuna Jr. and Mike Soroka, 2 guys that went down. And when those two guys went down, I almost wrote off the Braves. But at the deadline, they added their outfielders, and here they are. So yeah, the Brewers got knocked out, the Rays got knocked out, now the Giants get knocked out. So a lot of good teams in the first round. These teams that were. Yeah, Giants-Dodgers was a pretty evenly matched series, even though, Giants won 107 games, Dodgers won 106. Dodgers just so happened to have to play in the wild card game, but they've come through when they've needed to, winning 2 crucial elimination games already this year. But yeah, I thought the Brewers just couldn't hit. That was their issue. And Tampa Bay just, I don't know. I mean, you look at Tampa Bay. I mean, they have a lot of big name starting pitchers. They rely mostly on their bullpen. Just things did not work out for them. But yeah, proud of the Astros, proud of my team, and hopefully I'll be more proud after this series. So yeah, it'd be hard fought. Obviously our offense is gonna have to come through, and we're gonna have to get some pitching. So without Lance McCullers, someone has to step up. Whether that's Valdez, whether that's Luis Garcia, maybe. I mean, I don't know who it's gonna be, but it's a full 7-game series now. So usually the more games you play, the better team will win this series. Would be my assumption. Love to hear your thoughts, obviously, in the comments section below. Trying to think here. So obviously they'll probably add Odorizzi, and then like I mentioned earlier, drop Siri or Stubbs because they'll need an extra pitcher. I also think in a 7-game series, an extra pitcher is probably more important than your extra position player. So they'll probably you're losing McCullers, so it's probably still 13-13 in terms of position players to pitchers. But yeah, I mean, be rocking tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, so we'll be looking forward to Game 1, and Game 2 obviously will be at like 3:20 on Saturday. I'll be at work for that, but definitely be watching the game while I'm working. Be fully, heavily invested in the game while I'm working, so I don't think we carry that on KT 740 KTRH, so interesting scenario. So I'll be in the studios there. But 740, this might go over here. Sports Talk 790 carries the Longhorns game at 11. Starts at 11. Pre-game at 10. I think they start at 11. But that game's not going to end until 2:30. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. So yeah, we'll sort of wrap things up. I'm trying to think, it's only 14 minutes. I mean, I had one game to recap and then just preview the series. I could preview the series all day. I just tell you the same things. I mean, I got to talk about games to keep this podcast going. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll wrap things up there. Love to hear your comments in the section below. Obviously, always open to anything and everything you got to say. Obviously, respond if it warrants a response. Like the video, share with your friends, all that good stuff there is to do on YouTube. But I'll sign off there. Obviously, talk to you Can't give you a specific date and time because I just never really do know. But probably after these 2 games, get a day off, might have time then. So, but yeah, I'll wrap things up there, and we'll talk to you next time.